We now have news on how Johnny Somali almost got away. Of course, this is a legal mindset where we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney living over here in Asia and dedicated to the lockup of Johnny Somali and tracking every step of the legal process towards his conviction. Now, Johnny Somali has now been in Korea for over 7-8 months. And as we head towards the next court date, which is in August 13th, of 2025, it seems like he is headed to be in Korea for over a year, possibly more, and that's not counting any time behind bars. But this saga all began with him streaming last year in 2024 with a partner, Gino, and Gino was very fortunate to escape Korea, to get out of Korea before charges were placed against him as well, because he was an accomplice, he was a cameraman, and there was a lot of heat on him. But we finally have a full story in which he is on the phone with a caller and goes through this story on how close it really came to him being arrested himself, and also how Johnny was a mere day away from really possibly getting out of Korea and escaping, and only because Johnny Somali refuses to listen, and he's doubled down on his bad behavior, doubled down on getting the maximum amount of clout that has dug him in this deep and continues to bury him in South Korea in legal trouble. So without further ado, we're going to go over here and take a look at this clip. I will give some credit to 15 Minutes of Shame for censoring this. There are a lot of bad words that Johnny usually says, so those are censored out. So I would thank them for that. Let's play the clip.
There's no way these Korean niggas found the hotel while I'm still here, bro. I'm like, God, no, please don't let this shit happen to me, bro. So I'm like, please don't let this shit happen to me, bro. So okay, so the owner texting Johnny. Johnny's like, Johnny.
Now, for some context, this is the point at which, back in 2024, in which they are being hunted both by authorities who are looking for them and by Korean streamers, like all the streamers I interviewed, Dalgoon, J Company, Bang TV. All those guys were looking for them, to find them, to locate them, to also to really assist law enforcement in knowing where they can find them, to serve them with charges and give them papers. So this is the point at which they were really being hunted in Korea. The golden goblin hunt was at its peak.
He's texting the owner. He's like, bro, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just tell him you don't know me. You don't know me. You don't know who I am. And thank God the owner of the hotel was so cool, because the owner of the hotel, he was like telling I was calling, basically like, I can't disclose private information about who lives in my, who's staying in my hotel or this and that. So
just to be fair, that is pretty standard. Most hotels, Airbnbs, etc., will not disclose personal information who's staying. There's usually a lot of liability regarding that if you disclose that for a number of reasons. So while this may have been lucky for them, I don't think that was anything that was necessarily too far from the norm for what the practice is for hotels, Airbnbs, etc.
You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful that we had a cool ass hotel like owner or Airbnb owner, because if that's not cool like that, and he's like, yeah, that nigga Johnny Somali here, we would have been cooked that night, bro. It was a bit, the Korean nigga running through the motherfucking hotel looking for her ass. So, you know what I'm saying? So that next morning, I hopped straight in a taxi. I went straight to the airport. You know what I'm saying? I had on a mask. I had on a beanie. Couldn't nobody do it. I had on a mask. I had on a beanie. I was not playing that shit. I'm like making it out this bitch. I don't give a.
Now, to be clear, and this is something I want to bring up here as a good point, the mask and beanie may help you from the general public, but that would not save you from immigration. Korea has an integrated facial scan system. You scan in, scan out, they got your photo. So if he was actually up on charges and had the same travel ban that Johnny had, if Gino had that same travel ban, and once again, Gino here was his cameraman, if he had that same ban that Johnny had, he would not get past immigration. He would not make it, because he's got to take off that beanie, get that facial scan to get out there. They're going to check his ID, and he would not get anywhere. So the mask and the beanie, while they might protect you from the general public, is going to do zero in regards to getting past a national border, particularly in Korea.
So yeah, I got on my flight, I left. And then pretty much after that, that day, the day after I left, that's when the Korean nigga Johnny Hotel. And I told them, sweating in departures on God. I was sweating.
Yeah, and let me pull back here. That's all the charges we have now. So Johnny narrowly avoided, at least now we're up to 7. We started with 1, remember? We started with 1 charge. We're up to 7. He almost got away with it. Almost got away with 7. And once again, we've got a lot of time till August. I fully expect another charge or 2 or 3 to trickle in against Johnny. As we go towards August, we have plenty of time for that. He almost got out of all of this time. Isn't that kind of crazy?
God, I was sweating in departures. I was hiding it. Kid you not, I was hiding in the bathroom. I was hiding in the airport bathroom for like 30.
As a correction, this was clipped before I updated this. This is actually incorrect. It's actually August 13th at 4 p.m. This was clipped from a little too earlier.
Minutes. They see me while I'm waiting for my departure. I kid you not, bro. Not finna do shit in the airport. Like, let's be real. And then I stayed in Osaka for like 2 weeks. I think like 2 weeks, and then I went back to America.
And, once again, this is one of the reasons why you need to stop these people at the border. Japan had every reason, especially as a affiliate, associate, accomplice of Johnny Somali, to deny him out of Japan, to bounce him out of Japan, to keep him out of Japan. And this is one of the reasons why they need to be stopped at the border before they really commit any of these crimes, because that's really the place to stop the harm to everybody, the harm to natives, whether it's Japan, Korea, Philippines, Thailand, wherever, to keep these nuisance streamers out. Because after you let them in, they've only caused harm to people, harm to property, harm to people, emotional distress to people, harming children, women. These are the things that these people do when they enter countries. And, you've got to bounce them at the border by linking their faces to a file which has their information and saying, we don't want you in our country, which every single country has the sovereignty to do and should exercise, particularly against nuisance streamers, especially against those who are accomplices of convicted criminals like Johnny Somali, Ramzi Khalid, Ismail, and his friends, many of which who are, of course, convicted criminals.
But the day after I left to Japan, Johnny, that's when all the bullshit started happening to Johnny. Like, cause he flew out the day after me, and that's when they went to the airport and they told him, yeah, bro, you can't fly. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got a drug test or whatever going on, and it came back positive or whatever. You can't fly.
So this is a narrative is a little bit inaccurate. We've received, I think Gino was going on what was like said at the time, which is inaccurate. We actually have the actual legal documents and the information which said that he was being held, the travel ban, the basis for the travel ban was not only on suspicion of drugs, which ultimately they did not pursue, but was actually for all the other charges, including obstruction, defamation, deep fakes, even national security, the pro-North Korea stuff that was on there, national railway law violations. They threw the whole kitchen sink in the travel ban. So until all of the complete criminal investigation is done into Johnny Somali, he could not leave. Now, just because they gave him the reason of the drug thing does not mean that was the only reason. We found out based on the later legal documents. Of course, they have no duty to disclose what they're investigating. All they had to say is you have a travel ban. And this is what I said to really everybody about Johnny Somali, whether or not he has his passport. Many times he tries to flash that passport and say, I have my passport. The passport does not give you the power to circumvent a travel ban. You can have 20 passports. That will not get you out of the country. It's no better than a piece of toilet paper when it comes to that. So in terms of Johnny Somali, it was really because he decided to wait so long in the country, he decided to stay so long and continue to nuisance stream, to really build up that news cycle. And because he became so addicted to it, so addicted to the negative clout that and the attention of the media in a negative way, that he got caught and now he has dug himself in so deep. We'll listen to a little bit at the end here, but just wanted to clarify on the travel ban.
So that nigga Cook, bro, he was on a no-fly list and he had to stay there. And that's when all the bullshit, after that happened, y'all pretty much know everything that happened to Johnny because it was all on live. So yeah, that's basically how shit went down with ABZ. That hates Somali, bro. Anybody that hates Somali automatically is not gonna hang out with me. So that's 90% of CX.
And of course, both Gino and Johnny have something in common, that they're very sad they can't hang out with their nuisance streamer friends, their pals, Ice Poseidon and crew. But of course, like with most of these nuisance streamers, as soon as they hit this peak in negative attention or whatever else, the platforms, their quote unquote friends, chew them up and spit them out and throw them away, because they're easily replaceable. They can get somebody else to jump around and do stupid stuff on camera and commit crimes and get a temporary spike in attention. And as soon as they get too hot, they are going to disown them. They're going to disregard them. They're going to walk away from them. Of course, these aren't real quote unquote friends. These are just people that are in it for the quick cash that they get through doing these negative, stupid acts. And that's why there really needs to be aggressive action, not just against Johnny Somali, but against all nuisance streamers. I have very little sympathy for this nuisance streamer Gino here or any of his ilk who associated with that. None of them really spent the time thinking, should they do this? They did this, and they afterwards are reporting on how it went down. So that's the really story, and you can see how close Johnny Somali came, really up to the edge and almost getting away with it. And now that we're here, we've got 7 criminal charges. We've got decades of time in terms of the maximum potential, which he won't get the maximum potential, but it's still crazy to think we've got, decades of time that Johnny could be serving in jail potentially. And because of that, we're here today, we're covering this, and we're on with this saga. Please, guys, smash the like button, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?